Good day, everyone. Good day, sir. So, we are tasked to talk about the topic, which is dance in the United States, 17th century through the 19th century. And in this report, we are going to tackle a lot of different topics, which includes, of course, a little bit of the glance at the past of our topic. We are also going to talk some of the history and the political scene, as well as we are going to give you some history trivia, or we call it the history highlights. Also, we are going to talk the dancers in the 18th and the 19th century, as well as the dancers and personalities who contributed to the development of dance in America and their profile. In our report, we also included topics which is the 19th century theatrical dance and significant dance works, and lastly, we have the dance literature. So, let's start. Before we start the reporting, we are gonna give you some time to appreciate the photos that we prepared for you guys para meron kayong a little bit of idea kung bakit nga ba ganun yung mga nasa photos, because we are gonna talk about it for the rest of our reporting. So today, we are gonna have a quick glance at the past of our topic. So, hambalanda, before pa kanong first colony nga nagsettle sa America up until sa 19th century, dance has a really, really big role na gid onto the society and of course onto the stage. Ang mga immigrants, kag ang ginatawagan ng mga explorers na nagkadto sa America, brought with them their cultures and dances which began to interweave into the society and radiate, of course, onto the stage. As pioneers moved west, they carried their portable arts with them until they could establish a new settlement. The social gatherings like the weddings, the barn racing, presented, of course, the occasion for dancing. If nakita nyo, if na-notice nyo from their past, there is really a big role na gid sang dancing. Sang san opa sa ila history. Ara na gid ang dancing mismo, and it has a really, really big role. Which led us to our next topic, which is the history and political scene. The historical scene in America can be encapsulated as the exploration, discovery, and settling of vast land, separating from England, becoming a nation, suffering internal division, and reuniting into a whole. Next is the political scene was continually changing from the development of the colonies to their battle for democracy to the expansion and building of the nation from sea to sea. Farming and ranching supplanted pioneers in search of the new land. And the Industrial Revolution that developed during the 19th century put a new face on the direction of American history and politics. The nation continued to grow as immigrants streamed into the country, changing its face and culture. So before we proceed to our next topic, we will give you a very, very interesting history trivia, or the history highlights. So, Herbert Charlotte, which is a dance choreographer as well from that century, invented, I'm not sure if she really invented it, but she was the one who taught Americans of what we call the mixed dancing. And mixed dancing is it refers to a man and a woman dancing as a couple. But here's the thing. On that time, it is considered unlawful and a great sin. It's because of its gross indiscretion. And because of that, si Charlotte gin forced siya to leave Boston and to never return in there. So here's another quick trivia or a history highlights for you guys. It says there na because of the ease of transportation, it had much to do with the expansion of the United States. And because of that, because of the expansion of the United States, ang atin, di ba, people sa United States, they traveled from country to country, from places to places to do as a highways for commerce and to like improve their economy. And because of that, performers performers also traveled these routes as they journeyed from one town to the next edge of the frontier. And that and because of that, performers also use this expansion of transformation to travel from one town to and journeyed to the next town, which helped also sa expansion sang ating performing arts at that time. And our next topic is dancers 18th and 19th century. According here sa book, during the Revolutionary War, theatrical performers were banned. Congress enacted law in the 1778 to stop them because they thought it diverts people's mind from the serious conflict at hand to just dancing. So sabi nila daw, gimbanan ang performing arts or performances because ang people, ang ilang mind, wala na sila focus sa mga serious matters kano. They just focuses on the performers, the performing arts, which feeling nila distraction sa minds ng people. But here's the thing, soldiers performed amateur theatrics at Valley Forge and the English army had its own theater. George Washington attended the theater and was an avid social dancer. So, sila na performing arts distracted people's mind from the serious matters such as war. But here's the thing, even the soldiers, they have their own they have their own theater, so they perform as well. They perform amateur theatrics at the Valley Forge. And George Washington attended. Washington itself is a big fan and an avid social dancer.
John Durang, 18th century American dancer and a choreographer. Famous for his dancing of the hornpipe, Durang performed in circuses such as Ricketts and also on stages in Baltimore and other cities in the East Coast. In 1767, Durang put on a black mask or blackface to perform the role of Harlequin Friday in the ballet pantomime Robinson Crusoe, known as the first American dancer to receive acclaim. William Henry Lane, believed to have been a freeborn Negro. He became known as Juba or Master Juba on stage. So the meaning of Juba is a slave name reserved for dancers and musicians. He is considered one of the most influential performers of 19th century American dance and the initiator of elements that were to become the tap dance. Well known by the 1840s, Juba included American steps, the shuffle slides, and the jig step in his dancing. Mary Ann Lee, a 19th century American dancer and a contemporary of Augusta May Wood. She debuted in the ballet The Maid of Kashmir, the English version of Le Dieu et la Bayadere. From James Sylvain, Esler's partner in America, she learned of all Esler's best roles. In 1844, she went to Paris and studied with Perrault. The following year, she performed a small American troupe with George Washington Smith as her partner and toured U.S. cities, even as far west as St. Louis from 1845 to 1847. In 1846, she performed in the first American production of Giselle in Boston. George George Washington Smith, American dancer, ballet dancer, and a teacher. He began his dance career as a clog dancer. In 1840, he joined Esler's company on its American tour, during which time he studied with James Sylvain. In 1846, he was the first American to dance the character Albrecht in Giselle. The following year, he became the principal dancer at the Bowery Theater in New York. Later, he toured the United States with the infamous Lola Montez and the prestigious Italian Ronzani Ballet Troupe. Fanny Eslers in the United States. In 1840, Esler set sail on a Great Western steamship for a 2-year tour of the United States. Her entourage included her manager Henry Wyckoff, her partner Sylvain, her cousin, a ballet master, and a maid. Only her arrival she auditioned dancer for her company, which played in all the major East Coast cities, which traveled to Cuba and New Orleans before going up to the river of St. Louis on the edge of the frontier.
And traveste. So, ginatawag na siya kis ang trouser role or a breeches role. So, it is a theatrical term meaning a role in the dress of the opposite sex, usually applied to a female playing the role of a young man. Although sa 21st century, female roles played by men have become uncommon, women and male roles, sometimes referred to as travesti, are still commonplace across the art form. Dance masters. So, the dancing master was one of the accepted professional in England and France for centuries. So, nag-strove gid sila to be accepted in society as an educator, pero gat-teach man sila Japon sang fencing and etiquette. To acquire the level of sophistication of their European counterparts, colonial universities studied dance. So, sa Harvard ug sa University of Virginia, the dance master also taught fencing para ma-prepare ang mga young men to become gentlemen. The colonies were characterized by two distinct ways of life, one in New England and one in the southern plantations. So, maproceed na kita sa 19th century theatrical dance. So, ang first dire is the melodramas. So, melodramas are music dramas performed using mime that use two-dimensional characters in moral dilemmas of good versus evil or the villain versus the hero or heroine, often used as episodic with catastrophic effects such as fires and earthquakes. So next is the minstrel show. So ang minstrel show gapakita sang satirized politics, current events, and current theatrical productions. They absorb revival hymns, work songs, ragtimes, and jazz elements, and sentimental ballads. So, a band played outside the theater to welcome the audience, then played on stage behind the performers. The performers continue to play the bowls and the banjo. So last is the variety show and the vaudeville. So variety show was an entertainment that was an extension of the saloon environment where ang mga barmaids and waitresses often provided entertainments for male audiences. Variety theater surfaced after the Civil War as another venue for women to reveal stocking.
Thank you so much, Sherry and Gachon. Now we are down to our last two topics, which are the significant dance work and the dance literature. So we are going to talk about the significant dance work first. We have three. We have three listed, but I know for sure that there's a lot of significant dance work. There's a lot of beautiful dance works in that era. But let's talk about these three. First is the La Forêt Notre. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I'm sure it is that it is the first serious ballet presented in America in 1794. Next, we have the Maid of Kashmir on 1837, also known as the Bayat Dir This Maid of Kashmir on 1840, which is a prototype of a popular genre in which a resident ballet company, often a small group of dancers, supported by other members of the stock company, presented the ballet one night, and the next night it presented a satirical version of the same production, often with some roles played in travesti. Next, or the last one, is the Black Crook on 1866, a harbinger of other musical show, extravaganzas, and spectacles that would dominate the second half of the 19th century based on a theme storyline. They include songs and dances by one or more stars, supported by a huge corps de ballet.